And we're back to Nuke. And to make a background, so for the first vertex, we use background just like this. And I found on internet a little bit better reference. It's a video with a huge vortex like I did. It's very looking like I did, but just with smaller. It's more like a smooth, it's more transparent, but the shape is similar to what we did in Houdini. So what I want to do, I want to show you. This is our render from this white tornado. Yeah, now is how it's looking. Let me cache it. It's looking pretty interesting, just 60 frames, but when I make a simple merge, let's merge those guys, I find that I want to slow down them even more. So I use the Chronos in Nuke, because it's still, even with smaller speed, this bottom vortex I want to slow down even more. So again, I'm using the Chronos in Nuke, so I slow down is even more, so 0.5. The thing is, in our case, we have a static image and we can apply this trick. We can slow down our sequence in Nuke, but when you have a camera movement, you can't do this, because then your frame animation will not match with the background. So in this situation, what we could do is even slow down the first vortex even more, like by 25%, and slow down my bottom vortex again 50% smaller. So in Houdini, if we back to our objects, we can go here to my tornado bottom, and inside of the time blend node, I will slow down if there's even more, like 0.25. As you can see, I'm not creating the second cache file because it doesn't take too many time for calculation, right? And using the time shift, I guess I should, in this case, make a bigger shift. So when I slow down 2 times again, and I shift on 50 frames instead of 25. And here in my tornado noise, what we can do again, it's take our and this cache and using the time blend. So 25% from 50, I guess, right? So 25%, let's say we do like 0.4, it's not necessary just to increase by exactly 25%. So we can use like 0.4, 0.35 here to slow down this thing even more. Okay. But I don't want to re-render this again, so I did this in Nuke. And what we have here, use a Chronos, and I use a pre-mold to remove some stuff. Even with sampling 4, you can see some noise over here. So I did like secondary multiplication and multiply by alpha channel, and it creates like we avoid very less dense areas but very noise areas. And what I did else, I create like 2 layers. So I blur this image just a bit and make it a little bit bigger, and then add the under make an under operation. The thing is, we can even make some like a time shift maybe. In this software is called the type offset node. You can make an offset like 10 frames to avoid the same mesh or the same shape. Okay, and then I merge this with the main vortex. Let's look on the final image, because it's a little bit better to look on the final. I did off motion blur to faster calculation, and now how it's looking here. So I guess this video was recorded by the James Hammett, and as we see from this So this is my main vortex. As you can see, this dust area here in the bottom creating a nice transition between the ground and the main vortex. It's looking pretty cool. So make a simple grade, because by default it was very dark. It was very dark, as you can see from here. And with more brighter image here, I just make a grade. We can add something like a color correction and maybe add a little bit more contrast if you want to get a little bit more details if you want to, or even remove if you want less details the image. Okay, and then do a reformat, because I render out this in 720. So transformed it in the right position. The system information is doing nothing actually, so we can remove it. And yeah, that's my image. I cut the regional tornado, paste some cloud in the background. I can't see this transition, so I don't worry about that. And then merge them together. And that's what we have. I add a little bit of motion blur with a shutter time of 75. Sometimes it can eat some of your details. It doesn't make too much. As you can see, I disable and enable this, and there is not too many changing, just a tiny bit. But sometimes the motion blur here on this stage can create more realistic result even. So it's looking nice. If I play this, it takes some time for so I will cache this and then show you. And this what we have. It's looking pretty good. It's very interesting, and we can add some color correction for the whole image, maybe some grading here. So you can see that I create a simple compositing stuff just to combine those elements to show you how it can look, how it can be applied to your background. So can have some work here, maybe with some debris flying around, some, I don't know, cows flying there or something. So I just try to show you how we can apply this effect, because when we just render out the effect, it doesn't show pretty good work for us. It's looking good, but when you try to show it in a background, it's always a little bit better than just empty effects. So let's keep going.